Mm-mm. All right, cool. Let me double check and make sure we are live.
I think it says we're live, friend.
I would hope we were live. Let's see.
If we are, this is us. This is the real us, folks.
We are actually live. How about that?
I
All right.
told you. Ben Garrett at Spirit Ben, Sidhu Upadea at Sidhu_TV. Is that the thing?
Do you want to go retweet on Twitter for
Of
our
course. Even though I'm locked out of my Spirit Ben account, of course.
yeah, retweet for the spirit. Welcome to our live show. That is not
Yes.
what I wanted to put as my game
Saying,
run.
hey guys, we're live.
Yeah,
Hang out with us.
I'm gonna edit that. Game runs deep.
So we're right live right this minute.
We are
And
live
people,
right this
anybody that
minute.
might be watching us,
They
welcome
could
to the
see it.
new age, friends.
I know.
Going live with Game Runs Deep.
All right. I just retweeted it. It says game runs deep is live. All right.
We're doing it right now.
Tight,
Like
tight,
this is
tight.
all recorded. I wonder if
We're in there,
anybody's in
baby.
the. Is anybody in here yet? Not yet.
We got looks. I don't know. Let's see. We got. This looks like we got some people. Oh, we got some comments.
Let's go.
Is Lane staying? Tell me,
Oh,
Sudu.
shocker,
You know, I wish I knew.
shocker.
I wish I knew. I think the guy to the left of me might. Is Lane in the plane to Baton Rouge, Ben?
Is he in the plane to Baton Rouge? No, he's on a bye week. Um,
All right. Well, welcome into another episode of Game Runs Deep. I'm Sudu. He's Ben, and just an eventful way to start episode 13. After beating Florida, after going undefeated at home, Ole Miss is more nervous and anxious than ever. Not only with a college football playoff berth on the line, with a big rivalry game coming up in a couple weeks, but
right.
the constant rumors of Lane Kiffin's departure just continue to heat up.
Right.
The more the Rebs win, and that's where we find ourselves today. But Benny, how you doing, brother? Good to see you again. It was great seeing you this weekend. A
It was.
beautiful environment in Oxford, and we got to hang out again and watch some Ole Miss football, watch some Kewan Lacey BTA action.
Yes, it was awesome. I'm posting this on the Ole Miss Spirit, our link. We really just it's been a trial of patience for me and Sidhu as we try to get Game Runs Deep where we want to go with it. I'm stuck in a shadow box because I can't figure out lighting to save my
You
my
look
life.
great.
Um,
People tell him he looks great.
I'm trying to make it where I can be comfortable and also like talk to y'all in a normal way rather than be up in my perch and hanging on for dear life. But no, this weekend was so awesome to see my guy Sidhu. He came into town. 40. We got him in. He made
We
it.
got 40 in the game and in the
Kent
press
felt like
conference, the post
and
game press conference. That was
yes, he
nice.
did. And a press conference for Lane Kiffin provided absolutely no update on anything. He was asked the same question essentially 4 times in 4 different ways to try to get a different answer. Are you going to Florida? And every time he deflected completely. Last night, Sunday call with local media, and we asked him again, and really nothing to say. And I think we're still in the same place today as we were this time when we recorded last week. And the main reason for that is because I don't think LSU, even though LSU wants to be in the Lane Kiffin sweepstakes, I really don't think that they're much of a player here. I really do think it's Florida, the Ole Miss extension. It's an absolute coin flip. This week, Ole Miss would love to have some clarity because it is their bye week. But at the very worst, they need to know something about 11 days after the Egg Bowl. Lane Kiffin would not coach the playoffs if he's leaving. And it's just as much a chance that he's leaving as he's staying. And if he does leave, I think he would go to Florida. And I actually talked with a coach on another coaching staff before we came on here. And, apparently from all of what he's hearing in coaching circles, Lane is trying to make it as easy a departure as he can. Right? That's what coach. They're like, yeah, I think he wants to go, and he's trying to set himself up with an opportunity to do so in the most painless way possible. There's a number of problems with that, Sudu.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, the timeline is a unnecessary burden for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
It's hard to feel any kind of sympathy for Lane. I mean, the man's making $9 million. He could make $13.5 million next year at Ole Miss. But Florida is a temptress that has come calling again, and this time he's really finding it quite difficult to shrug it off. If anything, If I were a betting person, it's even money for me on Florida or the Ole Miss extension.
Yeah.
But in the coaching rumor circles, at least according to this Ole Miss, this SEC assistant, Ole Miss assistant, this SEC assistant, it wasn't an Ole Miss assistant, I promise you. It was an SEC assistant said like, yeah, everyone's still thinking Florida, like Lane's headed to Florida. And at this point, if you're Ole Miss, you just want to know one way or the other because you don't want to be limited to your in-house options only, right? Especially
Yeah.
for a playoff run, which
Yeah.
is all that really matters because Ole Miss is 10-1. Sudu and I know that for a fact because we were both there together enjoying what was remarkably the best atmosphere for a game at Vaught Hemingway Stadium I know I have ever seen in my 39 years of existence.
No doubt.
And even when asked and given an absolute layup of an opportunity in the postgame to just brag on that, Lane had to troll and talk about the Citadel, even though Ole Miss had more in town in attendance for the Citadel than LSU had for Arkansas this weekend. But only because Ole Miss is held to a different quality of standard than others, especially when the temptress is calling and you're really feeling her pull and her sting. So that's a long way of saying I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know what he's going to do. I think that he has had every opportunity to end it, and he has chosen not to, actively chosen not to.
What do you think What do
And
you
if
think he
not for the
wants at this
complicated
point?
timeline with signing day, transfer portal in January, the playoffs, like this isn't like Dan Wolken, who listen, I have never loved Dan Wolken. He and I have never loved each other, but he absolutely nailed it with his column last week. This is unlike any other sport. This isn't the NFL. This isn't NBA. Listen, in the NFL, there's negotiated releases. Like organizations have to allow coaches to talk to other teams. There's a lot that's negotiated in that in college just doesn't exist. Only in this sport can a team like Ole Miss be having the best season in its history, only to have it completely overshadowed because of the timeline and the adults in the room failing everyone. Have to worry far more about whether Lane Kiffin is coaching them in the playoffs or not. I mean, I had one national industry source say yesterday he'd heard that there was a debate whether or not Lane was going to be allowed to coach the Egg Bowl if they were given any indication that he was leaving. Imagine that. This is the winningest coach in Ole Miss history, and regardless if he leaves or stays, the fact that this is the process that will get to that decision is insane to me. And absolutely, yeah, that's the true disrespectful thing. You know, like Lane can talk about, well, it's disrespectful to talk about it for the players. Is it disrespectful to interview with schools on Zoom calls? Is it disrespectful for the coaches that address and say, I'm staying here? Like, is it not disrespectful so, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go about it. At the end of the day, I think Lane wants to leave or really is tempted by Florida just as much as he's tempted to stay at Ole Miss right now. He doesn't know what he wants to do. And Ole Miss is in this purgatory holding pattern until he does.
What do you think he ultimately is? What he wants? Like I can't really put my pulse on what it is that Lane Kiffin actually wants from whatever his next move is going to be, whether that's staying at Ole Miss or going to Florida. I'm a little confused at like what it is he's chasing at this point.
Yeah, I don't know.
We've talked about he's talked about that, the security being loved, a statue. I'm sure he wants to win a national title of his own, where he wasn't a coordinator, right? But what I'm having trouble getting my head around the season Ole Miss has had this year, the success they've had in a year where we've talked about it on the show. We did not expect them to be a one-loss team at this point in the season. This was a rebuilding year. And we talk all this about how he kind of squandered one of the best rosters that Ole Miss has ever had a year ago and missed the playoffs. And then this year, a roster full of deficiencies. And as I love Trinidad, and he's proven himself, but he was playing Division II football a year ago, and he's had a better season than a year ago. So he's just continuing to prove that whatever it is that you chase as a coach, which is winning and competing for national titles, it is possible. And even through all that, he's still tempted by the other job. So is it have we just been wrong, Ben? Does the brand just mean that much to Lane at the end of the day? I mean, what is it?
I don't presume to know. I really don't, because at the end of the day, it's his decision to make, and I don't know what he values. Like I don't know him like that. I know him well enough, and he's a good dude. I mean, he's been fun to cover, but I have the same questions that you do because Ole Miss has been over backwards for Lane Kiffin in every way,
No
and
doubt.
it doesn't matter what he's asked for.
Yeah.
Whatever he's asked for, he's gotten it at Ole Miss, and I think at this point, and Ole Miss would continue to do that. Like there's nothing that that Ole Miss wouldn't do to support Lane Kiffin in the way it best possibly can, and still, right now it ain't enough.
Yeah.
So I would question. I would have that exact same question. I just don't know if even Lane knows what he wants right now. I just think that Florida's unique has always been uniquely situated to flirt with him and to tempt him, and I think that's right now kind of winning out for him in a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, it's one or the other. It's the Ole Miss extension or it's Florida. I don't know what he's going to do, but I would too question like, well, how if you can't be happy with this, what how could you be happy? But also, you don't know what a man, what they really want in their life, and
Yeah.
maybe this was just like maybe he feels this is the end of a season at Ole Miss or whatever it might be. At this point, Ole Miss just wants some clarity.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I think
and
that's
and
my
they're
biggest thing. Is like
they, you know,
if you went out and even if you're not there for the playoff, as long as you get them there and you're honest and give them enough of a heads up, like yeah, nobody wants to see him go, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be have their feelings hurt about it, but at least you go, hey, you gave Ole Miss enough of a heads up, And I think that's what we're all seeking. We have JTC MPP say he's chasing the NFL. Easier path to the pros without a natty at UF than Ole Miss. I don't think that's true necessarily. I
I
think
don't know.
Lane could go to the pros from wherever. He's
I
already
do.
been there. He's already
Yep.
proven himself as a coach. That's why those Giants rumors were so prevalent. I don't know if it's kind of died down a little bit. But there is 100% a world in which Lane Kiffin could go to the NFL this year if certain jobs were to open up. And I think there's certain owners that would be open to bringing in a guy like Lane, especially with the way the NFL has moved, the way they play the game. I mean, his system would work 100%. I would love it if he went to the Giants as a Giants fan, right? That would
Yeah.
be awesome. But
I don't. I don't think he's a pro coach right now. I don't think that's what he wants. I think
yeah,
right now, yeah, I don't know what he's going to do, but I do know that for Ole Miss, the worst possible outcome here is that Lane leaves and Pete Golding is the head coach and getting his soft launch as the head coach in the playoffs. I don't think that's where Ole Miss wants to just defaultly go to. I think Ole
yeah.
Miss wants to talk to John Sumrall. He'd be the first call. I had an industry source say or tell me yesterday straight up, like, yeah, dude, if Lane leaves, Ole Miss would hire John Sumrall within hours. I
So
think John.
where would Summerall? Because you're familiar with Summerall too. You've obviously been around him and stuff. Like where do you think he would be? Because his name is so closely tied to the Auburn gig.
Yeah.
And obviously Auburn's probably going to make a decision way before anything, especially if Lane doesn't give Ole Miss a heads up. I mean, Auburn's going to probably move in on that. So where would
Yeah.
Summerall land between the two jobs? I mean, he can't say, well, I'm going to wait for Ole Miss and risk not getting the other job as well. And we've talked about it before. Summerall looks like he's got his foot out of the door. So
Yeah.
somebody's been talking to him as well.
Yeah, I mean Arkansas wants him, Auburn wants him, but I think DJ Durkin is really in play. He's the leader in the clubhouse, in my opinion, for Auburn. I could be completely wrong, but I mean I've talked to people on staff over there
Oh God.
recently, and I think he just got to win. But they might not be able to do it. I think that one is for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
One that would really intrigue John Summerall. He's from Alabama. He coached at Troy. Um, Kentucky's his alma mater. If they opened up, they'd be interested. But I know right now, Ole Miss would be the job he would really be the most interested in right now. Regardless, what do you
is
think
it
of
time
John
for us
Summerall?
to propose our candidate that is not going to make a majority of Ole Miss fans happy?
Well, here's what I wrote. I wrote on the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, affiliate of all three. Sign up for today for $1.
Yeah.
I wrote a column. It said, I don't know what Lane Kiffin is going to do. But I do have this column, and I kind of laid out what it was, and nothing too much more. There's a lot more details in there because I want you to just actually read our stuff
Did you
for
bring
$1.
his did you bring his
Yeah,
name up? Okay.
I put him in
So
here.
you've already put it out there.
Yeah, I
What
said,
is
well,
what has
because
been the reaction?
because Ole Miss, it has good in-house options. Pete Golding is not going to go if Lane goes to Florida. He's
Yeah.
already essentially told him that. He's got a contract unique to Ole Miss. Like Ole Miss negotiated that with Pete and independent of Lane. So Pete's here, and it's not just for um, professional reasons that Pete is here. Like there are real
Right.
personal considerations for him that are unique to him, and why Ole Miss would he's at Ole Miss. Brian Brown, I mean, he's a Corinth guy, co-defensive coordinator, wants to remain at Ole Miss. There are a lot of guys on staff like that who would prefer to stay rather than, like Charlie Weiss needs to be his own independent offensive coordinator. Man's been trying to get a G6 job, head coaching job for years and can't because he's Lane's guy. So he needs to uh, produce and show himself outside of the Lane bubble. So you
Yeah.
essentially, if you could get the right program figurehead, keep this thing going by sliding them in. Not to say he wouldn't bring his people, he would, and there would be a lot of turnover. But some people that you'd want to keep, that you could keep, to really keep all of the infrastructure in place, they do want to stay too. John Summerall fits that a lot because he quite literally replicated the model at G6 of Lane's at the G6 with Tulane, and it was
Right.
Lane's model, and he'll tell you that. I replicated. So from a trolling standpoint on Twitter to the X's and O's and the build out of the analytics department and how they go about recruiting and scouting, it's very similar, if not damn near identical. So like Ole Miss knows how good of a fit that would be.
Yeah.
But they don't want to just talk to John Summerall. He would be their first call, in my opinion. But I think right after John Summerall, Ole Miss would want to talk to a number of different people. They want to see if Eli Drinkwitz is interested, even though he desperately wants Florida and he wants Penn State, he wants LSU. Um, they'd want to talk to some other candidates, but for me, uh,
Say it,
I, I
Ben.
I think
Say
it
his
would
name,
start.
Ben.
Dan Mullen would kill here.
Yes. Let's go.
Dan Mullen would absolutely massacre it here.
Ben,
You talk,
they are very similar.
yeah,
You brought this. I was like going somewhere last week. I was in the car,
yep,
and Ben went, "You know who I think they should talk to?"
they
And
won't.
I didn't know who. I thought you were gonna say like Derek Nix. I thought it was gonna be someone just. I
No,
would have, whatever. And I start naming people, and this guy out of nowhere goes, Dan Mullen. And my first instinct was just to like
hell
hang up the
no.
phone and be like, what is wrong with you? But then I start thinking about it. I go, okay, wait a minute. This guy, cult of personality guy, he's gonna garner headlines. He's gonna make it fun, kind of like
Mm-hmm.
Lane did. The difference is Lane trolls, but it's sort of cute. Dan Mullen's just an asshole, but he would be our asshole. You know what I
No,
mean? And this is a guy that tried to ruin the Ole Miss football program, and,
yeah,
and a lot of kids, like I don't have a great opinion of the guy from his time at Mississippi State because it got a little too personal with him. Like he really did some bad stuff. But at the end of the day, he is just as much of a quarterback whisperer as Lane is. He has coached multiple talented quarterbacks. Tim Tebow. Remember how good Trask was under him. Was he with Urban at Utah for Alex Smith? I can't remember.
I can't remember. But
But
Ole
he's
Miss, yeah,
Dak Prescott. I mean, come on. Like he's
yeah,
been around. He's made a lot of quarterbacks good. An offensive guy his offenses are very good. UNLV is like 8-2 right now. Total winner, right? And the best part is he understands Mississippi. He understands that rivalry, which right now obviously feels a little diminished with the way Mississippi State is. But we're all going to be nervous come Egg Bowl week. We know how much that means. The only thing about Dan Mullen is Dan Mullen just doesn't like to recruit.
and it doesn't matter anymore
And
because
in today's age, yes, with NIL, and on top of that, like here's how I look at it: if you bring in a Dan Mullen, I think you go ask a Derek Nix, somebody who's been there before, to say, "Hey, do you want to come be the OC?" And then just let him handle recruiting primarily. We know how good he is, especially in the state, and in just the Southeast in general. I know it's a totally out there, far fetched thing, and I know a lot of Ole Miss fans would be like revolting against that idea, Ben, but I think it makes a lot of sense because the guy's a proven winner. All right.
yeah. No, I think it makes a lot of sense too, and from the football standpoint, it makes all the sense in the world because he's a true CEO, and he was a CEO before coaches wanted to ever be CEOs. Like Dan was just trying to desperately be a CEO a long time ago. So the recruiting apparatus and the NIL group that is the Grove Collective, one of the most efficient in the country for Ole Miss, would be perfect for him. The national exposure just from the Mississippi State angle alone, both locally and nationally, would carry a year. Even more than that, could you imagine Dan Mullen coached Ole Miss returning to or going to Lane Kiffin coached Florida in Gainesville next year. Who is the only coach that's been even remotely successful at Florida for the last 10 years? Dan Mullen. And like he's a quarterback guru like Lane. A lot like he checks a lot of the boxes, and the trolling aspect does not need to be undersold here because national relevance is something that Ole Miss has fought tooth and nail to get to. Consistent everyday at national relevance. It's not just about being ranked for 45 straight weeks. It's not just about being barreling towards the college football playoff and being single digit wins away from winning his first title since the 60s. It has to fight for its place, it seems like, every single day. So making it easier in that way with a figurehead that wants that smoke, if you will, it like a Dan Mullen would make a lot of sense. And he's a wild card name that I've actually heard from people that I think matter. Another one was John Gruden. I was like, no way. But also
Gruden, yeah, Gruden doesn't feel it. Rebel and Dave says, "What did I miss? Why are we talking about Dan Mullen at Ole Miss?" Well, bud, Ben and I are proposing that he would be a great fit.
Because number one, it's the off week. Number two, given every opportunity to provide clarity about his situation, Lane Kiffin has chosen not to.
Yeah.
And before I sat down to record with Sudu, quite literally was on the phone with an SEC assistant coach who was like, dude, the rumor mill out here in coaching circles is that Lane's headed to Florida, man. He's just trying to soften the blow to make sure he can do it. And this guy was like, hey, dude, is any of the guys on staff going to still be there? Because I got an interest in it. You know what I mean? Like, so that's how this stuff moves. That's what's happening right now. The timeline is like that.
Yeah.
I mean, and everybody's still in season. That's why it's so messed up. It's why it uniquely sucks for everybody. Because, like, dude, none of this should even be a thing until February.
Yeah.
None of this should even be a consideration. But Ole Miss, with the most successful season it's ever had in modern history, if not ever, it just needs a title to be comparable to the 60s teams. And we're talking about this. And it sucks because it's overshadowing what everybody like. Lane Kiffin was here to do exactly this, to build Ole Miss to a place, and he's done that. And they're doing all of the things that they dreamed of when they hired him, and they can't even enjoy the spoils of it because they're paying the Lane Kiffin taxes they've paid every single year. And this year feels as real, if not more so, than even 2022 to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and only twice did I really think it was serious. 2022 and right now with Florida. And I'm getting texts saying, well, I heard Knox was in Baton Rouge on Saturday and Gainesville on Sunday. And that's coming from people who have real blood, sweat, equity in your program to make sure that it's good. Like dudes that give real money, and they're frustrated because they're like, I'm not going to give any more money to this if he's going to go to Florida. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that complicates things because, dude, signing day's 2 weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention the transfer portal opens in January. And frankly, Ole Miss's roster is pretty bought and paid for next year anyway. It's about as good a situation as you could walk into. And that's why they want to be able to hire the best candidate. They don't want to just have to go, well, is it Pete Golding or Joe Judge? And I think Joe Judge makes a lot of sense as a program figurehead, especially if you're pressed against the timeline and they got to insert somebody in there. If the worst outcome here is Pete Golding's the head coach with Brian Brown as defensive coordinator, and maybe his own offensive coordinator hire, or Charlie Weiss as his standalone offensive coordinator, coaching in the playoffs for a soft launch of his Kirby Smart, hopeful era at Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. That's a great place to be in, but that's not what this is supposed to be right now. This is supposed to be about a playoff discussion, and Ole Miss looked bigger than it's felt ever, in my opinion, Saturday. Sudu and I were sitting there, and I would question Lane's ability to be happy, too, if he could really look at all of that, what he's been begging or commanding out of Ole Miss fans for 6 years. They delivered a perfect night in that way. Everybody delivered. The stadium atmosphere people, the administration, as far as, I mean, if he goes, it's not going to be because Ole Miss didn't offer him something. They're willing to go to average annual value, average annual salary value, assistant bonus pool, NIL, but you name it, like whatever they can do at the limit of their capacity, they are and have been willing to do it for Lane Kiffin. And it all kind of came to a head against Florida. Florida sucked. It wasn't about Florida either. It was just like the last regular season game. Ole Miss is 35-3 in its last 38 at home. That was like a coronation of Ole Miss has arrived as they barrel towards the playoff in a title race, right? And yet, all that anybody could ask about was Lane staying or going. And Lane had an opportunity to elevate the program afterwards. And he was asked about just the atmosphere. He didn't even have to talk about job crap. And he chose instead to to troll his own fan base, which I just think is really crappy. That's the one thing that if he does leave, all of the Kiffin 2026 pictures of a cap that he posts on Twitter and the Velvet Ditch and home and blah 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 blah, you're unfortunately setting yourself up to have the narrative revert back to what it's mostly always been for you, and
Yeah.
that's unfortunate because it's not fair to him. That's not what he's been at Ole Miss, but that's how this process right now sure seems to be playing out. It's one or the other for me. It's either Florida, the Ole Miss extension. I don't know which one he's going to do, but dead gum, man, they need some clarity. And if Ole Miss does have to make a coaching hire, you'd be hard pressed to find a candidate who checks more boxes better than Dan Mullen. That's all I'm going to say. Just from a trolling standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, it's not going to happen. I put him in the same tier of potential candidates as Jeff Lebby, who would crawl back to this job, to take this job as his figurehead, and John Gruden. The realistic guys would be to start John Sumrall. I know there's a little Alex Golish interest. I don't think that
I don't know if he fits Ole Miss.
I don't
I
think
like
so.
Alex Golish
Maybe.
a lot, but
I do too, but I don't know. John Sumrall is the one I hear far and away the most. Clark Lee is somebody Ole Miss would love to talk to. Program builder. Does he check the national branding exposure box that you would need him to? I don't know. How much does that matter at other schools? Not as much at Ole Miss. Certainly, you need to be driving the conversation always.
you got to be, we
Always.
need that persona. That's why, like you said, Summerall makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's why we talk about a guy like Mullen. I just
Or
think it's got to be a bigger personality and someone who can drive those storylines of that interest constantly to keep you in that.
But if Pete didn't get the job, would he even want to stay? Like, there's all considerations.
Well,
man. Like,
that's someone. I think someone just asked that in the comments. Is if Summerall were to come in, I mean that's the big part. Is like Ole Miss can say, well, we got a unique contract with this guy, but the next coach could come in and say, well, if I can't hire my own DC, I don't want the job. So it's like how does that play out? With Pete.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets passed over, would he be okay with that? I doubt it. I doubt he'd love that. He wants the job too, and he wants his first head coaching opportunity, and he took a chance on himself coming here, and that adds another layer to the complicated calculus that is the coaching search timeline in college football, which is unlike any other in sports.
Yeah,
Treat it like it's professional football. That's my opinion. And I actually asked Lane about it last night, something specifically about that. If it would be healthier, for the sport, if it was treated more like the NFL, the NBA, all that kind of stuff, because this current window forces everything is rushed, and decisions have to be made without the considerations of what actually is supposed to matter, and that's on the field. Ole Miss cannot enjoy this because everybody wants its head coach, and of course they got to make a hire within a relative amount of time too. Like for me, here's the hard line: December 1st. Everything's like everybody wants to make a move by December 1st. Everybody wants to have their stuff settled by December 1st. Well, Ole Miss is being punished because it's still winning and we'll be playing football on December 1st.
It's just, I've really been for the last few years, I've tried to move away from the We Are Ole Miss stuff that we've been so grown up in or whatever, trying to be like, oh, of course this happened to us, trying to get rid of that, mindset. But when this kind of stuff happens, it's like, of course. One of the greatest eras, and Lane said it himself. Everybody talks about the good old days. You're living in the good old days. And it's like, hey, man, you have enough wherewithal to realize that and say that. But you're also, in those good old days, there's still a cloud that's cast over these great moments. And that's the most frustrating thing about it all. I'm a little different, I think, from most Ole Miss people when it comes to Lane. I know a lot of people are frustrated. I just know when he came in to Oxford, I just assumed, he's only here for 2 to 3 years. This is him trying to leave FAU and use it as a stepping stone. And he lasted a lot longer than I thought. And, of course, I don't want to see him go, obviously. I think he's, a phenomenal coach, and he's a perfect fit for Ole Miss. But I'm also in the mindset of, hey, look at all the great that has happened since he's been here, the exposure. The way the national media has been gushing about Ole Miss the last few weeks, that was not the case when he first got in. Even earlier this season, when the coaching stuff started coming up, the conversation has changed so much the last few weeks. And there are so many guys. We talk about a Sumrall. There's got to be so many other guys we haven't even thought about that would jump at the opportunity to take this job because they've seen the commitment they've seen from the athletics department, from the collectives, from the fans, alums, everybody. The job itself has been elevated to a higher degree. So I don't feel as bad about Lane potentially leaving. I just don't like the way he's going about it at this stage. So there is no press conference on bye weeks at Ole Miss. Is that right?
Well, there isn't one today. That's not particularly, out of the ordinary because it's the
Okay.
off week. There's nothing to do. Again, this is Game Runs Deep. We're live, our first live attempt. I'm in the shadow box, Ben Garrett, because I can't figure out how to do lighting. He's Sudu Upadea, Riverland Roofing for all your roofing needs, 662-644-4297, riverlandroofing.com. Our friends that are doing more than most everyone else in the Ole Miss name, image, and likeness space, NIL. So our thanks to Riverland Roofing. If you're unhappy with or shopping your health insurance coverage, call Drew Moak of USA Benefits Group today at 601-953-8449, 601-953-8449. Drew offers regular health, dental, vision, and Medicare supplement plans. He's an Ole Miss grad, servicing 35 different carriers, and he'll make sure you're in the right place for you and your family. Call him 601-953-8449, quoteswithdrew.com. And as always, my thanks to B&A Bank, Carolyn Brownson, Witt, Bob, Mike, all of them over there, my friends. It's more than just a bank. It's a place of people that care about you and will take care of you, and you can actually trust, especially if you're like me and feel like an absolute idiot when it comes to making financial decisions and just want somebody to say, hey, tell me what to do. B&A Bank is a place for you. New Albany, Tupelo is where the branches are, 662-534-8171, 662-534-8171. The bottom line is this, folks. We're 31 minutes in, and my camera doesn't have enough juice to go more than about 30 minutes more, and we got other things to cover here. Lane Kiffin it's a complete and total coin flip.
Yeah.
On Friday, the general feel I got was that Florida had the momentum. Then people I really respect and talk to about this stuff by Sunday were saying, well, dude, now I'm hearing he's probably going to stick around. And then today you got an SEC assistant coach calling me on the phone before I sit down with Sudu saying, oh, yeah, he's just trying to soften the blow. That tells you what it is. It's very much up in the air, and it's confirmed by Lane's own answers and how he's gone about this. He doesn't talk about this stuff in season, yes, but it's also disrespectful to your school not to address it because it is the elephant in the room, and whether you want to talk about it or not, that this is what it is, right? And it's overshadowing everything. And there's no chance that Ole Miss would allow him to coach the playoffs if he's going somewhere else.
No way.
Exactly. So, like,
you can't. There's no, that would be the weakest move in the world. I mean, you can't do that. Keith would never allow that, in my opinion. I don't even think that's in the realm of possibility. Let's get to some comments here, too, Ben. Appreciate everybody that's joining us for our first live edition of Game Runs Deep. Okay, let's see. Some of these comments I can't read out loud, but I don't disagree with
are
some
they
of you
pissed?
So yeah, people are pissed. Someone wanted you to ask him what makes the Florida job better. It doesn't matter. Guys, here's the thing. That's the other thing about asking Lane questions. He's always going to find a way to troll and try to make a joke out of it. I watched it happen the other day. I wish the one regret I had when I left the press conference Saturday night, I wasn't thinking really in the moment, but I also wasn't really there as a member of the press that game anyways, but I wish I would have asked him
last year with 10 NFL guys. He did.
He did. He 100% did. Yeah, no doubt about it. And I wish I would have asked him, Lane, at this stage of your career, with all these job rumors and things, what is it that you're actually chasing now? Like, what do you do this for? Like, why do you do the job that you do, and what it is that you're looking for at this stage? I really wish I would have asked him that, because maybe that would have provided a little more clarity into his decision and why he's acting the way he is. Or maybe he would have just made another joke out of that and moved on.
He would have. And because he's not going to talk about this stuff. I mean, he was asked the easiest layup of a question from Caleb Sailors for Super Talk.
Yeah.
And just absolutely biffed it. I mean, just absolutely biffed it. I mean, bringing up the Citadel attendance when, again, yeah, it wasn't. It was the worst attended, probably one of the worst of the season, and still 60,000 showed up for a scheduling blunder in November, when they spent thousands of dollars, not just going to the games, but for the roster on the field from their paychecks that aren't $9 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
And all you had to do was say, "Yeah, guys, that was awesome. Thank you for understanding the assignment. Uh, Ole Miss has never looked greater." And instead, you went, "Did you see the Citadel, which had more fans in attendance for than LSU Arkansas this weekend?" And
Yeah.
yet, you don't hear the same bullcrap excuses when it comes to LSU or whatever it might be. So, yeah, it's frustrating, and I get Ole Miss, like I'm frustrated for Ole Miss fans.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it's at because I've been doing this job for almost 20 years, man. And it's not personal, it's business. It's something I've said over and over again, not just on this pod, but on any pod or anything I've written. I don't take this stuff personally. I'm not angry at Lane Kiffin. Like, I
Right.
understand what he's dealing. Like, I get it. Now, I don't understand what he's dealing with because, like, I'll never understand that because, I mean, 9 million a year. If I had complete control over everything and I could just live and coach ball and like he would, if he wins a title this year, regardless of what he does, they would build a statue for that. Like you have matched Johnny Vault, whose name is quite literally on the stadium. That could be Vault Kiffin Stadium,
Yeah.
if not Lane Kiffin Stadium, if you stayed. So that used to be what you valued. Now you value the family and the growth and like, well, you did that here, and you're getting all of that, and yet you still want to voluntarily potentially give it up. That doesn't compute to me, and it does certainly seem disrespectful, especially with the way. If you don't want to talk about it, fine, but at least then, when you're given opportunities to elevate, as the program elevated you, pulled you, like took a chance on you and elevated you. And when you had the opportunity to respond in kind, you've just trolled your own fan base a lot. If you end up leaving after all the online 2026 Lane Kiffin and the home stuff and the Velvet Ditch and all this, that, and the other, again, and it sucks, but it's inevitable, and it's your own doing. You're gonna have to deal with the reversion back of a narrative of Lane Kiffin is always going to be Lane Kiffin, and
It'll
zebra doesn't change
undo
the
all
stripes.
of the E60 stuff, the journey, the family, all that. And it's the way in which he is going to leave if he does leave. It's not just that he's leaving, but it's like you're saying, the trolling and the all that, all those things have compounded into like, if you do leave, that your entire arc of like redemption and all that throw it out of the window. What I don't know who I saw tweet this. I think it was an Ole Miss account earlier today, but it was a picture of Lane in his suit when he was going to address the Tennessee media while he was waiting outside of the room when he was going to USC. And someone just tweeted a picture of that. And I was like, that is the most accurate picture in this moment because that is what this will become all over again. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
think Ole Miss students are going to be setting, trash can fires and stuff on campus, but it'll be that kind of situation because of the way he's gone about it.
yeah, because you made it personal, like Cutler
Yeah,
60
Cutler
20.
just
Like
said, yeah, no doubt.
he really has,
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. But I won't begrudge him. Like
I won't either. I will have no hate in my heart for the
I
guy at
won't say
all.
a bad thing about Lane
Yeah,
if he does leave. I won't
right.
because man, yeah, I won't. We could get into that another day because I
Yeah,
still don't. It's no one knows.
right.
I was feeling a little more bullish about the extension piece yesterday, and now I'm like, well, shoot, this is more Florida vibes than anything else today.
Yeah,
No one knows, and he's not going to make a decision this week, and he's not like Ole Miss wants a decision this week, and maybe they'll push. I know they're going to try to a little bit, but
yeah,
um, until the Egg Bowl's done, he doesn't have to do anything.
right.
If he was considerate, and surely the man who means what he says and says what he means now, then he would. I don't care what he thinks about disrespect for players. The players are very fairly compensated now. They have a job to do. If they don't do their job, that's another discussion. My issue is we need to, like Ole Miss would need to know what its options were, and it doesn't want to be handicapped just because of somebody else's vanity, you know, vanity tour as the center of attention, which is really what he's always wanted. So I think I've had nothing but a great, uh, you know, relationship time covering Lane Kiffin.
Yeah,
Seriously, he's been great. Uh, but if he blows this, if all because of all this, the Egg Bowl State can beat you. They can beat you, and if you lose the state, because let's be honest, the Florida game wasn't particularly inspiring for most of it. If that happens and you miss the playoffs, oh, now that's where the villain arc changes
yeah,
because that would be the two best opportunities last year with Jackson Dart and Walter Nolan and Trey Amos and Jared Ivey and J.J. Pegues and blah. Don't get me started.
Yeah.
The eighth most or the most players drafted in the modern era. The third most in the country last year. One of the most in the country. And who is the rookie of the year? With the rookie of the year favorite? If he had not been hurt until now, he was going to be a defensive rookie of the year candidate in Walter Nolan, an All-American. All right, Jet. Let's see. Hold on. He went 9-3 and lost to Kentucky and Florida. This year, Florida gave him a challenge again. You know what I mean? Like the red zone issues were the biggest problem.
Yeah.
If he loses to the Egg Bowl to Mississippi State and costs him a playoff on the backdrop of that, with all of this stuff,
Yeah.
that's how you torpedo everything you've done. I would just simply say, man, shit or get off the pot in a equitable and fair amount of time so that Ole Miss can really know what it can do or can't do.
Sure.
And it wants to be able to talk to John Sumrall. It wants to be able to vet potentially Cliff Kingsbury, talk to Clark Lee, see if Eli Drinkwitz is just thirsty for a move, period.
None of those guys, I don't. None of those guys. No, dude. It's got to be. It's either Sumrall. It's got to be someone that's more of a personality, but also a proven winner.
I think I've totally sold you on Dan Mullen.
I'm all in. I'm all in. Someone said, I forgot who it was commented. It's like, Ben, no, like not Dan Mullen. He called us T-Son. Listen, guys.
But imagine that cult of personality, dude. Like where Ole Miss embraces being T-Son. Amazing.
His introductory press conference, he will refer to that. And remember, Dan Mullen, this guy's like
pushing him out. Brandon Clark, no one's pushing him out.
Yeah,
of course you'll gladly take him because y'all are thirsty. Y'all are thirsty as hell.
Yeah, no one is pushing him out. But I think
we're just saying Ole Miss needs a decision. It needs to be first treated fairly and equitably, and given credit for how far it's come as a program. Yeah. And a lot of that, the majority of it, starts with Lane Kiffin. Like hiring him was the biggest thing, but also give Ole Miss credit for what all it's done to support him and give it some agency and say, I know you're thirsty for the coach because that's what pathetic programs in their current situation, that's how they deal with things. Ole Miss is worried about the playoffs. And the fact that you can't sympathize that sucks ass, that they're just having to sit here and talk about this all day, every day, then like dude, you're missing the forest for the trees. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like y'all want to get in bed with the big cult of personalities. Man, the only way this sport survives is regionality. And Ole Miss has busted its tail, man, to make sure that Lane has everything he wants. And this timeline is not his fault. It is what it is. It's the NCAA's fault. There's no other sport like this. And it uniquely sucks for everybody. Lane would do well to change his course. If he is going to leave, he would do well to change the way he's leaving because I think he's handled it poorly. Just don't be a dick on the way out because this place just wants to celebrate you. That's all we're saying.
Yep.
And be fair to them.
No doubt about it. All right, we gotta move on and talk a little bit more. But before we do that, I want to give some shout-outs. Some people came up to me in the Grove this week and just talked about how much they love the show, Ben. They talked about how much they love Ben Garrett. And
there's no way that's true.
So no, listen, they not only said they love Ben Garrett, but they also said, Ben definitely interrupts you more than you interrupt him. Mm-hmm. But they love it. Okay. So I forget what my guy's name is. He may be in the live stream here who
That's
believes
great.
that. But I had a couple guys come up to me. Shout out to Jack Woods. So Jack Woods is apparently friends with a bunch of dudes I went to high school with. I met him this weekend, and he's a big listener of the show. He introduced me to his wife. He was telling his wife, he's like, "This is the podcast I listen to in the car all the time."
Heck yeah.
But he's a big Ben Garrett fan. And he wanted me to let you know that. He's like, please let Ben know. Like, everything he does, I listen to. Shout out to my guy, Jake Jaffe, as well. He's listening to us from New York right now. I had a pleasure of meeting him this weekend. My buddy, John Mark Tuttle, who I hadn't spoken to in years, also DM'd me, said, the show's awesome, and tell Ben to stop interrupting you. So
it's true. I love that. So Thank y'all. Like, I know I'm a loud man. That's the thing, man. I just want to. I want to be honest, man. I want to tell y'all what I think. Like, I don't presume to know, you know what I mean? But I can just tell you what I'm hearing and try to be. And for me, the one side that's really getting screwed here, is Ole Miss because man, all it's done is being punished for winning. What a crappy position. But like, it's all good problems, but it's just like, dang, man. Can't Ole Miss just enjoy this?
Yeah.
Can't Ole Miss just enjoy an historic and can't other fans just appreciate? We're always worried about what's next, and that's where Lane has been absolutely right. We're always worried about what's next. The good old days are where what you're in now, where your feet are now. I wish that Lane would recognize how avoiding this and not living in the now with this team. He's tried to because he wants to be respectful, and the timeline is bull crap, and it's screwed him and it's put him in a terrible situation if he really does, and he does want to entertain Florida. But your primary sole responsibility right this here and now is to elevate Ole Miss as you have,
Yeah.
to keep it on its climb, not to deter. And there's been too many deterrents for my taste.
Yeah. I agree 100%. We'll see what happens with old Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. But hey, as of right now, guys, Ole Miss is 10-1
You been doing predictions?
heading into the Egg Bowl. Yeah, we're going to get to it. But
coaching carousel predictions.
Oh, you got updated predictions for this week?
Yeah.
Let's
I'll put my name on it.
Let it rip, dude. Let it rip.
All right, let's see. LSU is big game hunting.
Okay. And that's another thing. Like I saw some comments in here. We didn't get a chance to respond to them immediately, but some people were asking, like, so LSU is no shot at all with Lane, or?
Oh, they want to be in it. I just think that it's just not really in play.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they want to be. I mean, I think they would pay him whatever he wants to come be their head coach.
So would Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn's not in this. If I had to guess, Auburn's going to somehow find a way to hire DJ Durkin as his head coach. I could be completely wrong, but after the conversations I've had this morning, I'm like, dang. Arkansas, they're not really going to go for Ed Orgeron. There's no way that's possible.
They want to keep Bobby, right? Bobby just hasn't given them a reason to do that.
Yeah. I think Eli Drinkwitz is the favorite for Penn State if he wants it. I think he really wants Florida or LSU. Florida is far and away all in on Lane Kiffin. Until they know something about Lane Kiffin, they vetted and talked to representations for Eli Drinkwitz, Jedd Fisch, Lane Kiffin. I mean, we haven't verified it because he won't talk about it, but like there's rumblings out there that, and I've talked about it with fellow members of this beat. We'd heard the same thing independently. We went, oh, I heard this. He went, yep, it was this day that Lane, his representatives on a Zoom call, with during the Citadel week, because they have to. They're like Florida's down the road in this process. If Lane gives them a no by December 1st, they're moving on to Eli Drinkwitz or Jedd Fisch, and they're moving quickly. I think Jeff Brom really wants Florida, but I don't think that's going to happen. So if you made me predict, I think LSU. I don't know what LSU is going to do. I just know.
Who'd you say a week ago? You were telling me, was it
Lincoln Riley?
Was it? No, it wasn't Frank Wilson. But who'd you say that LSU?
Kelvin Shepherd.
Kelvin Shepherd, right? That's who.
Yeah,
okay.
But I think he's like their Pete Golding. Like that's their floor. It's Kelvin Shepherd.
Well, that would be a good Riley. Good God.
Joe Brady, but Joe Brady, like he wants an NFL head coaching job.
Yeah.
Joe Brady is absolutely involved at LSU. He'd probably be my. That's who if they could get him today, they'd go get Joe Brady.
Yeah.
Because they could make it happen pretty quick. But like they've talked to Marcus Freeman, and Marcus Freeman's just straight up doing the anti-Lane. He's saying like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not asking for that. I'm just asking more for like, guys, I'm considering all my options here.
Why would you leave if you're Marcus Freeman, by the way? Because you could lose 2 games and still get into the playoff, apparently. Like, Notre Dame is just such a cheat code because the national media just absolutely glazes them for no reason every single year. Why would you? That was my whole thing with BK leaving. I never thought BK was that great of a coach. Some people thought he was top 5. I was like, yeah, he's a top 15 coach. But he coaches at Notre Dame. Like, he's always going to get a pass. You're always just going to be able to recruit there. And regardless of how good or bad you are, they're always just going to put you in the conversation anyway. So if you're Marcus Freeman, why would you ever leave Notre Dame? You've got everything you need there. And like this year's proven, you can lose 2 games, and guess what? You're going to be in the conversation the entire year because you're Notre Dame.
Yeah, no, like Notre Dame is I think Marcus Freeman's not going anywhere.
No, hell no.
But
There's
yeah,
no reason
everybody. The NFL could be interesting.
Yeah, I could see that for him.
But I still think Marcus Freeman isn't going anywhere. I think LSU is big game hunting. I think they're going to be successful to a degree. I would be surprised if LSU didn't come out of this with like a name that the caliber of Marcus Freeman, Lincoln Riley, or Joe Brady. Because they have the money. All you got to do is have the money and be motivated enough, bro. Yeah. That's it. And like There is no deterrent. I don't care. Like, yeah, they're trying not to pay Brian Kelly $53 million. I hate it for him. You're gonna have to.
Yeah,
But that's not going to stop LSU if they say, you know what, I don't care. We're going to get Lincoln Riley. It just takes the right billionaire booster to give you $20 million, and that's what they'll do. I think. All right, let's go. Eli Drinkwitz at Penn State. That's either there or Florida, but Florida would mean that Lane Kiffin passed. And if Lane Kiffin passed, he stayed at Ole Miss. If he went to Florida, Eli Drinkwitz would go to Penn State. I think Ole Miss would move so quickly on John Sumrall. As quickly as humanly possible.
Yeah.
But if they're not able to move as quickly as humanly possible, John Sumrall becomes the overwhelming favorite at Auburn, especially if DJ Durkin continues to not win. Even though there's a lot of local sentiment for DJ Durkin, and he's really embraced Auburn culture. Arkansas. See, Arkansas's not even part of the discussion really, because it's like Arkansas is going to get like Ryan Silverfield. Eric Morris. And I think Eric Morris is awesome. I think he's going to be awesome. Kane Womack's apparently a candidate at some school like Oklahoma State, former Ole Miss assistant, defense coordinator at Alabama. Oklahoma State, I think, could do worse than Kane Womack. Jeff Lebby would move if he could, but he's only won one SEC game this year, even though State's 5-6, and that's just been really hard. But yeah, if Lane went to Florida, I think John Sumrall would be the overwhelming favorite at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I think right now there's just as much of there's every bit the percentage odds that Lane Kiffin's not the head coach next year than he is. You know what I mean? At Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And so like what we're talking about is not, this isn't crying. This isn't saying, oh, screw Lane Kiffin. No, we get to do nothing but give Lane Kiffin his flowers. You know that.
Yeah, by the way, this is what anybody that's like left a comment or has said something on Twitter about this is all you talk about. This is what we do, guys. This is the job. That's why there's 169 people in here right now. It's to talk about this. So
yeah, because
the foolish people are like, this is all you do is talk about it. That's quite literally Ben's job. He covers Ole Miss for a living. That's what I do. I
the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, Fit of on 3, sign up today for $1 in the shadow room because I can't figure out lighting, but like, dude.
Yeah.
All I want to do is talk about 10-1.
It'd be great to talk football right now. Yeah. Yeah.
But all anybody wants to know, like after Ole Miss beats Florida, one of the very first threads I see is where's the coverage of Lane Kiffin on the Spirit? And guys, I write myself at least 2 or 3 stories a day, or do podcasts or stories or some form, at least 3 a day about this specifically. So like, if they're not reading it, and they're not like they're wanting to listen to it. If they don't get like, we have to talk about it all the time because that's all people want to know about. We can't write about nothing else because if we do, they'll go, well, wait a second, that wasn't this. I mean, it's nonstop all the time.
Yeah.
And that's what we're saying. That's the crappy part of it.
That's the problem. You're 11-1 and instead of or 10-1, and instead of talking about the playoff and this Egg Bowl coming up, you're focused on your coach who's got one foot out of the door. So, all right, Ben.
I'm just glad that they beat Florida because they're better than Florida, we didn't have to ask.
Even though some of those goal line situations we haven't even talked about, some mysterious play calling there.
Like I'm looking at this percentage on my camera because my battery's messed up. 23%. Like, dude, we got about 20 minutes left, and we got to get to other things. Really get to other things. But like the amount of text I got, like especially after the Austin Simmons goal line play.
Yeah.
Dude, is Lane throwing this?
I had multiple people ask me, text me multiple points of that game, going, "Is Lane just trying to like got one foot out of the door, trying to lose this on purpose? Like, what is going on?"
You see this dude in the chat? Like he says, Eric Demian 794. To be honest, I think he tried to throw the OU game with those goofy end zone plays with 2 quarterbacks, but they won. And that's the thing, like. We don't have to ask those questions. He wouldn't answer them anyway, or we don't have to take our brains down that very dark path.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But because they won the game, but dead gum, dude, we're not even talking about 10-1.
Give it. Why are we not just hand the ball off to you gave him the ball 33 times throughout the game, and then there's 2 goal line situations where you just decided not to give Kejuan Lacey the ball. It made no sense to me.
3, like I saw like a dude who works in the Ole Miss administration, man, on the sideline. I love this dude. I'm not going to say anything, but like even he was trying to go run the ball.
I was there for that.
Yeah. Run the ball. You know what I mean? Like you're on the one and you ran it once
You know,
with
you
the
know.
guy
I think I saw a stat that Keywan Lacey has the most broken tackles in the country
in the
this year for
country.
like a
He
running
was
back or
behind
in
Ahmad
general.
Hardy for the longest, but like now
Yeah.
he's that dude.
So you don't trust that guy? I mean, that's who clinched you the game. Like it was
30 carries for 224 yards and 3 tutties. He's now the single season Ole Miss record holder, so, passing Quinshawn Judkins. He's the best. I agree, Rebel and Dave, the
Yes.
best running back in the country, and you're bringing in your injured backup quarterback for cuteness. I don't
know.
understand that.
That was some frustrating stuff. All right, Ben.
right,
The
we gotta
the college.
So after all that,
Yeah.
so we can move on and my camera won't die and we can actually talk about other things than just Lane Kiffin for an hour. Ole Miss is 10-1. I think we're gonna know something about Lane Kiffin in 11 days. I'll
Yeah.
give you 11 days at worst, by the longest, maybe this week, but really about 11 days. Absolute coin flip. Ole Miss extension or Florida. And it has been changing with the wind depending on who you talk to, because at the end of all things, Lane Kiffin, who refuses to tell anybody anything, including publicly, privately, just anything true, is intentionally keeping his options open. It sucks, but that's where it is. It's a coin flip, and nothing is going to really change. I just don't want to talk about it much more this week because dadgummit, Ole Miss is 10-1, and Saturday was such an amazing day to hang out with Sudu and 40 and have an amazing, fun time with fellowship. God is good, and it's not all about Lane Kiffin. It's not.
It's not. It's not. Speaking of which, I asked you last week. I said, "Hey, man, Oklahoma got the best of the Tide a year ago.
Yep.
This is why Alabama didn't get in the playoff. We think
Yep.
Oklahoma can maybe upset Alabama, and I think I think we came to the decision. No, probably not. Probably Bama wins. Oklahoma's not a playoff team. They're kind of on the border, but they're missing some things. And we were proven wrong, Benjamin. The Oklahoma Sooners have now made things very interesting. Texas losing to Georgia. Now they're the 3-loss team. OU's going to position itself to get into the playoff. Makes Ole Miss's resume look awesome to go on the road in Norman and get that win. But that was not what we saw coming. There is still a world, Ben, you realize, right, where Ole Miss could get in the SEC championship game based on what we saw this past weekend. Now, South Carolina could have made it so much more interesting. So much more interesting. I mean, those poor fans, man. Those poor fans.
I was really ready to come on here and go, really, Texas A&M, after all year of me saying, I don't really believe. When I finally say, yeah, dude, good for them. Yeah, they deserve all the flowers. You're really going to let this be how it ends? This is going to – but for the first time in SEC history, a team that led by 27 points in the second half or something, whatever it was, lost because South Carolina –
that feels like a Hugh Freeze era collapse for South Carolina.
Yeah. Like Shane Beamer – if you win that one game alone, you really could have gotten your contract reset with Virginia Tech. Probably they're going to go.
They're going to James Franklin.
Yeah, but like Ole Miss wants to be able to at least talk to James Franklin. Why wouldn't they? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, of course they would. And don't worry, I've already had some money people like, dude, if they hire James Franklin, I'm out. You know, while we got Jay Sims in the comments going, if it's Dan Mullen, I'm burning all my Ole Miss gear. I get it, but also you're misunderstanding. You get all of the on the field stuff that you get with Lane, and you're not going to match Lane's national relevance as far as like constantly driving the national conversation. But if anybody can get close, remotely close in year one at Ole Miss, and it's quite literally year to year now in this business, it's Dan Mullen, based solely off of the state connection, yes, but also Ole Miss coached Dan Mullen coached Ole Miss going to Lane Kiffin coached Florida when he was the most successful coach Florida's ever had. The shit he would talk, not just at SC Media Day, but that week, like he would do Feinbaum hits all the time. It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
it's not.
And also not that they've been. Let me say that before someone goes, the best coach they've ever had. He means in the era after Urban Meyer, obviously.
Yeah, but good Lord. I mean, come on now. No one's arguing that Florida isn't a great program historically. We're just saying y'all hadn't been shit in 10 years. Like, chill. That's all it is. And the way I look at it, Brandon Walker's in the chat as Brandon Clark. Oh, that would be great. That'd be very cool.
Hell
like, Brandon, if that is you, dude.
Come on the show, dude.
With you. Yeah, dude, it was great to catch up with him when that Barstool came for the Ole Miss Georgia game. Like, went back there and talked to him specifically about some stuff. I like Brandon Walker. I think he's a good dude.
He's a funny guy. I think he's a little misguided, but he's a funny guy.
I think he gives a shit, and I think he genuinely gives a shit. He gives a shit about what he's supposed to, like the stuff that he gives a shit about, like his family, his friends, his he takes pride in what he does, and He loves Mississippi State. Okay, there are worse things.
Oh, the other thing I was going to say with Dan Mullen is, guys, there's two people that would be the most down bad if Dan Mullen got hired at Ole Miss. One would be the Mississippi State fan base.
Miserable.
The other person would be
Can you
Hugh
imagine
Freeze.
the first time Dak came to visit Dan Mullen at Ole Miss, how that would go?
Oh, that would be nuts. But could you imagine how Hugh Freeze would feel?
Tim Tebow? Oh, yeah. Oh, it would.
If Dan Mullen got the job at Ole Miss.
Oh, it'd be hard. It's not going to happen. Like, if you ask me, all right, Ben, you've been talking all around it. Say it right here now. Well, they are about to be shit. See, dude, just chill out. It ain't that serious. You calm down.
That's so funny.
Also, y'all said the same thing about Billy Napier. Y'all said the same thing about Dan Mullen. Y'all said y'all's delusion has been insane.
Remember when McElwain was supposed to be like the next great thing?
Instead, he was having sex with a shark. That's a joke. Don't look that up. That's a joke. That's a joke. But like this Nick Cass, like, dude, chill. It's not that serious. No one cares. Like, we're saying, yes, Florida wants Lane Kiffin, and Lane Kiffin is seriously considering it. And right now, it's just as much a chance he takes Florida, stays at Ole Miss. My point is very simple.
Yeah.
Ole Miss wants him to be fair, equitable, and considerate, considering all what they've done for him, and don't want to have to settle for their in-house candidates, whether they like them a lot or not. Like, if you made me handicap it, if Lane were to take the job in Florida tomorrow, who would be the overwhelming? Like, who would be the betting odds favorites at Ole Miss? One,
Summerall.
John Summerall.
Yeah.
Pete Golding and Joe Judge. Because then you're talking about in-house promotion options. But then, Cliff Kingsbury's in there. Alex Golish is in there.
No.
Eli Drinkwitz is long shot because I think Drink is big fish hunting. Like he would think like moving from Missouri to Ole Miss was more laterally than what he think like going to LSU, Penn State, or Florida would be. Clark Lee, James Franklin.
No.
But I don't think it would
I
get
get
better.
it. There's just not that many elite coaching candidates out there, like elite, or like the hot young guy that's like you're like, man, that's the next guy up. I think Summerall's the only thing close to that this year. That would be my guess. Okay, but back to we somehow shifted back into Kiffin stuff, man.
Because it's dominating everything, and we got to be gone in like 15 minutes because I'm looking at the percentage, and I'm about to be wiped out regardless. All right, let's hit it.
You're good. You're good. But this weekend, man, some crazy stuff. Also, Louisville lost again. The ACC is a joke.
Oh,
it is
terrible.
An actual freaking
It's not
joke.
even worth talking about anymore, man.
Seriously. It really isn't. I mean, we've given the ACC so many chances. I mean, I came out early in the season. Miami, this team can win a national title. Look at the way they're playing. Collapse. Louisville, Jeff Brom, he's slaying top 5 teams. Collapse. Georgia Tech, sitting a 1 loss. They're probably my favorite team right now in the ACC, but even them, they should have 2. They should have 2. We can't forget about the Wake Forest game. Just a joke of a conference right now, man. It's truly remarkable to me how bad the ACC has become. And that's why, we talked about Brom as a candidate, I think, a couple episodes ago, and a lot of people were hitting me up going, hey, I think you forgot. He's a Louisville guy. And I go, yeah, but if you're Jeff Brom, you're watching the way the ACC is being treated by the playoff committee, maybe you do want to make a move. Maybe it does make sense for you to go somewhere else because clearly, I mean, I don't think the College Football Playoff Committee respects the ACC, and at this point, I can't disagree with them, dude.
No, I mean, I don't even know who you include anymore.
In this playoff?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just go off the AP poll right now, right? So Ohio State has done absolutely nothing but win and do it dominantly. They're 1. Indiana at 2 makes total sense. Yep. I said that you could make a case for A&M above Indiana, but with their close call. But I'll say this about A&M, though, and I've said this before about a lot of different teams. I feel like if you can skirt out wins and you can face the adversity and make comebacks, that says more about you as a playoff contender than just if you're just blowing teams out. Said that about Indiana last week. I'm going to say that about Texas A&M this week. To be down 30-3, I know it's South Carolina, but still to be able to get past that. Marcel Reed had a terrible first half in that game. I was actually like, I guess I was completely wrong about this guy. And then he comes out in the second half and totally changes his tune. I think that says a lot about A&M. So I still say you could put A&M at 2 over Indiana, but I think 1, 2, 3 makes sense. Georgia, bro, this is what Kirby does. When November rolls around, the dogs, they're barking. And by the way, they're doing the belt to ass thing too. By the way, I saw that their student section took off their belts and were smacking it on the tunnel. So how about little Ole Miss influencing people? Mighty Georgia out here, huh?
Yeah, Brandon Clark in the comments staying thirsty, saying still get more fans in 3 games than Ole Miss all season. Bitch, who's the one that's actually winning games right now? Like,
Ooh.
Y'all stay thirsty, man. This is
Hey,
silly, dude. Like,
hey, let
stop
me
being
tell you,
fake.
I haven't seen Ben Garrett like this in a long time. Don't hey,
You're right. I
F
need to.
around and find out. All right,
God is
don't.
good. It's like stop with this. It isn't a Florida versus Ole Miss, guys. Ain't no one talking that noise about y'all. Like I've had nothing. The only fun thing I ever talked noise about with Florida was like one when Rex Grossman came and Ole Miss stormed the field, and then when they made Tim Tebow cry. Like no one has any beef with Florida. The problem is like what everyone needs to like target their fire at is the people who allow this timeline to be what it is. It's absolute insanity. It's
Yeah,
insanity that a sitting head coach that's won 10 games and set history, becoming the third consecutive 10 win seasons of first in Ole Miss history, the first coach to ever do that. And we talking about this for an hour, like when they're 10-1, because like this should be safe for the offseason. This should be all off-season intrigue, but instead
yeah,
it's in season and it takes away from what's happening. And what's happening is Ole Miss is single-digit wins away from winning the national championship. And if you look at the field and their resume comparatively, especially with Oklahoma beating Alabama this weekend, there are very few teams, if any, that you would take over Ole Miss. Ohio State probably, Indiana probably because of their consistency. But Ole
yeah.
Miss's only loss of the year, only blemish, was a single-digit loss at Georgia that they controlled, but they just couldn't figure them out defensively. Enjoy your season because it's almost over. Ole Miss fans are going to enjoy it regardless, and they're going to enjoy it even if Lane goes to Florida. They're not going to stop being Ole Miss, but like because Lane, they've moved past Lane and the cult of personality that is Lane. Like Ole Miss have real infrastructure in place. That's the point. They want to be able to go talk to guys to keep that going. They're
Yeah.
not going to necessarily be better than or just step in seamlessly for Lane Kiffin, but like they don't want to be limited to their options. So
Right.
that's what we're talking about. Someone in the Twitter comments, Daniel Larson, said some food for thought. Last time this happened with the Auburn rumors, Lane Kiffin ended up signing the extension either right before or after the Egg Bowl. That's true. If I'm not mistaken. So I think it would be safe to assume that he's going to resign. If he's going to resign, it'll be around then. Yes. So 11 days
Yeah, and
for
thank
you, the
God
Florida
this time
fans.
around, regardless of what he's doing, the one thing I gave him credit for this a few weeks ago, and if he finishes out the season, I'll say it again. Hey, I don't know what the hell you're doing as far as if you're leaving or staying, but the fact that you got your team focused and winning, unlike that implosion in 2022, that's where I pay my respects to Lane. Whether he stays or leaves, if he could finish out the season 11-1 and get this team to the playoff, cool. Awesome. Whether you stay or go, thank you. Thanks for not losing from the distractions and having the implosion we saw in 2022, because that, you want to talk about like him leaving under these circumstances, that would be even worse. If they would have lost the last three and it ended like 2022, good God, man. That would
Auburn ain't
be the
Florida.
worst.
Nick in the comments. Auburn ain't Florida, bro. You're way closer to Auburn in 2025 than you are Ole Miss. Sorry,
Yeah.
we got to move on now.
All right,
Let's knock
so
it out. We got
back
two
to that
things.
playoff poll we were talking about. So Georgia, the top four just makes total sense, right? Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia. I don't think that there's any argument there. Ole Miss is currently fifth in the AP top 25. If they win out, I imagine that they'll be no lower than 5 or 6. It would make no sense for Ole Miss to be lower than 5 or 6. That would have you hosting a home playoff game. Oregon and Texas Tech are tied right now. Oregon is not particularly impressive. They find ways to eke out wins too, but I don't know, dude. Right now, would you put Texas Tech over Oregon? Because I think I would.
Yeah, probably.
If you're seeding the
I
playoff right now,
Yeah, probably. Yep.
I'd put Tech at 6. I'd probably put Oregon at 7. Oklahoma has jumped up to 8
That's
all of a
crazy.
sudden.
That's crazy.
But
Man,
I
had
mean, who else
Oklahoma.
would you put there, right?
Nobody.
That it makes sense.
Nobody. But Ole Miss, man, like their draw as currently slotted would be a pretty daggum good draw for them, and they could make a real run here, and yeah, they could win a national championship. And you're talking about history repeating itself. Like thinking about Lane and the whole Tennessee press conference thing. Like he didn't get to coach Alabama's national championship run as his offensive coordinator because he took the FAU job and Saban said, "No, kick rocks. You can go do your thing." You know what I mean?
Right.
Think about history repeated in that way again. And like the one thing he said he's always just really pursuing. We talk about like what would make him happy. Well, I think he would ultimately say, "I just want to win a championship." You have never been closer, and
Yeah.
yet your foot is not in the door here, where you're quite literally a couple weeks away from doing it in
Yeah.
a pretty winnable field. Instead, it's focused on outside distractions. So,
Right.
yeah,
So we got we're looking at Oklahoma at what, 7 or 8, right?
Yeah,
Notre Dame's at 9 right now. Good God, they're gonna
because there's
find
no
a
one
way.
else.
They're gonna find a way to.
There's
Bama
no one
moved to 10. BYU's at 11. Vandy's at 12. Meaning right now Vandy would be pushed out if we went by the AP poll.
Yeah.
By James Madison, I guess they're the highest ranked Group of 5 team right now. Granted,
Yep.
you'd have to win your conference and finish
Dude, John
the
Sumrall
highest
and Tulane are back in that conversation.
they're 24th. I mean, it's James Madison, North Texas, and Tulane. So that could be a very interesting situation. What if Tulane somehow ends up playing Ole Miss in the playoff? Which wouldn't happen with seeding. I don't think that's the way the seeding. Well, I actually could, right? Because the first 4 teams get the bye anyways.
Destin Bryant says Oklahoma's going to win out. I don't see that, Desi. But, yeah, I mean.
Oklahoma's going to win out. I mean, they could certainly win out. Who do they have left?
No, that
Mizzou and LSU?
bro. That includes the playoffs. Like
Yeah, there's no way.
Come on.
Oklahoma's going to win out and win the Natty. There's no way.
All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack you and interrupt again. But
no, you're good. I'm just looking at the rankings right now, and I'm going.
Yeah.
I mean, it is pretty chalky though this year. There's not too much. Like when the year first started out, we were talking about Vandy and Georgia Tech and all these other teams, but the way it's looking right now, Ohio State. I mean, Indiana's the least chalky team in there, obviously. Ole Miss, Oregon, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Bama, BYU still in the conversation, and we'll see.
Nothing interests me once you get past 9, man. I just don't take anybody else seriously.
Bama,
That's true.
how do we feel about Bama?
They can beat anybody they line up against, but they can beat anybody, but everybody's gettable. That's the point.
Yeah,
everybody's gettable.
No doubt.
And
everybody but Ohio State is the only one I look at, and I go, they might be the most dominant. That's the only team.
yeah,
And Julian Sayin is now has shot up the Heisman charts. We were talking about him maybe winning a Heisman next season. He could do it this season.
He could do this year. Like
It's
my vote,
Fernando
if I had
and
one-
it's Sayin right now.
my vote right now, if I had one, would be Jeremiah Love.
Jeremiah Love is awesome.
If for no other reason than to make right the criminal robbery that was giving Ashton Genty's Heisman Trophy to Travis Hunter just because he had a gimmick.
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough a year ago.
Yeah.
Well, Benny, yeah, I guess that kind of covers it. You want to take a look at some Week 13 matchups before we get out of here?
Fire away. Let's do it.
So we got, let's
First
see.
run at a live show. We'll be better next time. But now we know how it works. You know what I mean? We quite literally just said, all right, let's go live. Started talking. He said, are we live? Oh, we're live. And just been talking for an hour and 15 minutes.
Well, you go live all the time, but this is the first time we've done it using Riverside, which it's gone pretty well. Okay, so let's see. We've got Mizzou, Oklahoma. Mizzou has to go to Norman. Any chance that the Sooners slip up here?
Man,
No shot in hell?
No, I'm not saying no shot in hell. Actually, it's pretty intriguing. Where is it? Where's it
It'll
played
be
at?
in Norman.
In Norman? Yeah, they're not losing that.
It'll be in Norman. Yeah.
It's gonna be tough. Like Drink is he's putting his best foot forward, man. He's auditioning. Like that'll be tough. But I'll give it to the home team, and I think they'll win.
Okay.
I think Oklahoma is one of the few teams that it kind of excites you right now. You're like, oh, this is the team that like early in the year everybody was going, oh dang, John Mateer. This is the Heisman candidate, Heisman front runner. Yeah. So I'm with you. I'm going with Oklahoma. I don't think they're not losing to Missouri. Come on.
Okay.
But Drink is man. Drink. You think Florida fans are thirsty for Lane just from the comments I'm keep reading over here? Drink is thirsty to move. I think, man. That man is thirsty.
Yeah, I could see it. All right, USC is going to Eugene to play Oregon this week. We've talked about some of the close calls Oregon has had. I mean, the Trojans have not been anything special, but they are 6-1 in the Big Ten, only 2 losses. I don't know. Could this be the
Lincoln
week that
Riley's
Oregon
going anywhere? That's my shocker special. I think Lincoln Riley's going somewhere.
He has shown that he will move from what is considered an elite program. Like he will make a lateral move. And some people may disagree about Oklahoma and USC, but Oklahoma's won a lot historically. So I 100% consider that a lateral move. But yeah, if he feels like his shelf life is kind of up and there's pressure on him, I could see him take advantage of that and go somewhere else.
Well, I mean,
LSU would be very interesting for Lincoln Riley, and I think it'd be hard for him to turn down LSU. It'd be hard for anybody to turn down LSU.
Except
the only
Lane
difference
Kiffin right now, like I think Lane Kiffin,
except for Kiffin. Yeah,
well,
Florida's got him. In
also,
a good spot.
I just think LSU shot itself in the foot because I think LSU would have been every bit the threat of Florida had they not.
Oh, if it wasn't for Jeff Landry, yeah, right. Kiffin to LSU would have been almost I don't think we'd be talking about it as the way we are Florida right now.
Yeah,
If that wasn't the case.
Lane. Let me put it this way: an Ole Miss guy who's as connected as anybody, who has been bullish as hell about, oh, this is all for, like, Lane's going to sign. He's going to sign an extension with Ole Miss. Today he's like, oh, he's gone. Like that's how the sentiment is kind of just blown with the wind. And for me, I just think that sucks. And I'm committing myself to most of the rest of this week when I do podcasts, especially. Man, I'm going to talk about a historic Ole Miss season, bro, because it's never been like this before.
Yeah.
And that's where the focus really should
All right,
be.
you're on 13%. Let's
No,
wrap
I'm on
up.
7% now. Here we go.
Oh gosh, here we go. All right, so USC Oregon. Who are you thinking? You think the Trojans
Oregon.
get the upset?
Oregon.
I'm gonna go USC just for fun. This
Yep.
week.
I almost
Just
did.
for fun. Let's see. Kentucky Vanderbilt. Cutter Boley has been looking pretty good. You think that Kentucky has any shot at beating the Commodores in Nashville?
That's my upset pick this week.
It's gonna be Kentucky over Vandy.
Just because I don't know who else I'd pick, and that would be kind of silly fun. Diego Pavia, my guy, the fighting Diego Pavias, the back end of the college football playoff bubble, whatever you want to call it, has been weak as hell. This was the concern when they said to go to 12. Is there always going to be 12 that really deserve? Vanderbilt right now is that 12th, and man, of course they're not a national championship contender. They're a fun story, and bully for Vanderbilt, and Clark Lee would be a hell of a hire for anybody that really wants to win in a consistent way for years and years and years, in my opinion. But yeah, no, I'm going to go with Kentucky.
Okay.
Let my guy Mark Stoops do what he does. The longest tenured coach in the SEC. Let him do that, man.
When he's not beating my team, I love Mark Stoops. All right, number 22 Pitt at number 16 Georgia Tech. The Jackets can't lose again if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive. They're still in the conversation.
Brent Key wants to stay in the conversation to be Florida's head coach.
Brent Key ain't leaving Georgia Tech. Let me just make that very clear right now.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He ain't leaving.
I'll take Tech.
You're taking Tech. I'll take Tech on that one too. I think they're pretty. They're pretty convinced. Okay, number 23 Tennessee going to the Swamp. Now we know how this rivalry has worked in the past. Doesn't matter how good Tennessee is, when they go to the Swamp, Ben, crazy things happen. You know this. Historically, Tennessee struggles at Florida. When's the last time the Vols won in Gainesville? Maybe our guy, who's our Gator fan in here? Sam Nichols, Sam. When's the last time Tennessee won in Florida? Do you know that off the top of your head?
I can't. I don't have I don't have the percentage on my phone or anywhere else to be able to Google search it really quickly. So Nick, help us out. He said this is fun because he's been talking his crap to Ole Miss fans. I really couldn't care less. I'm sorry, I got to be a pretentious asshole. I couldn't care less. But let us know when's the last time Tennessee won.
The last time Tennessee beat the Florida Gators in Gainesville was on September 20th, 2023. The victory came under quarterback Casey Clausen. Marked the last time Tennessee won at Florida's home stadium, the Swamp.
I'll give Florida credit, man. They didn't look like a team that, the team that looked like they'd absolutely quit at Kentucky did not look like that. They were playing. They were playing for Billy Gonzalez.
We don't know. We don't know which Florida will show up. That's the crazy thing about Florida this year. Man, that's why they were such a wild card when Ole Miss played.
DJ Lagway dropped some pretty dope dimes, man. So
it also helped that Ole Miss's secondary is as porous as it is and was getting beat every single play.
They were running wide open. That's true.
That was a pretty sad deal.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna
Tennessee. 5%, by the way.
So I'm going to go Florida, man. Until Tennessee wins in the Swamp again, I'm going to go Florida here. All right, let's see. What's our other?
You're an asshole. You just don't know it. Oh, I do, man. But it's all good. It's all in good fun. Honestly, seriously, I think everybody that's joined us, man, that have made this podcast what it is, that have come up to Sudu and talked to him. I telling him, oh yeah, I love that Ben is the interrupter, even though that's the thing I've been the most
Rebel and Dave disagrees, man. He is on my ass about that, dude.
That's okay, but
I love him for being here and supporting us.
I love that you get a little taste of what it's like for the rest of us normies. You know what I mean? That you have to eat some of it too. All of this is really, and that's what I wrote in my column for the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, affiliate of 130, sign up today for $1. When I really wrote about and try to be as concise in what I knew about the Lane Kiffin stuff. Yes, Nick, it is all in fun, 100%. The spirit, that's the spirit of the thing, man. Seriously, it ain't that serious. It's fun to talk about this stuff. It's fun to mess with your rivals and stuff. That's what made it great. I don't like the mean-spirited stuff, talking about Ole Miss in an aggressive way, because Ole Miss has come so far, and a lot of that, most of it, attributed to Lane Kiffin, but it has agency too, and that would be to shortchange so many people who really just have really given a crap and tried to make Ole Miss the best version of itself. Yeah, I think Lane is. He thinks he's Florida bound. Nix does.
Great
It
shot.
could be. Yeah.
Good
I mean,
shot.
like I've been saying, every
Yeah.
bit the chance, in my opinion, right now is him signing the extension. It's one of those two things. I don't think LSU is in play. But as I wrote in my column, it's all silly. It's not that serious. It's just unfortunate how sucky the timeline is for everybody because it's robbing the joy of it, the spirit of the thing from what we love the most. And that's just, the beauty that is the lunacy, the beauty of the lunacy that is college football. All right.
Yep.
4%.
All right. Number 12, BYU at number 25, Cincinnati. Can the Bearcats end BYU's hopes of a college football playoff berth?
They will if they win. But, buddy, and you and I really wanted to get on the Bearcat train. We did. We really did.
Tried. I
We
like
tried. Like you got me on Story, bro. Like you put me on him.
Yeah. Yep.
BYU.
Yeah, I think it's BYU. Bear Bachmeier, bro. I love quarterbacks that wear obscure numbers like 40. What is it, 47?
I hate that.
You don't like
I
that?
still don't forgive Shea Patterson for wearing 20.
Hey, 22. Like was it 20 or 22?
20, dude. 20? And he looked like Johnny Manziel in that start against Texas A&M. And then what a night that was. I gave that as a present. I got a bunch of Oxford Eagle copies, bro, and I got Shea to sign it for like family members because, that's when Ole Miss was Shea Patterson was the only thing that could make Ole Miss relevant. You know what I mean? And like he'd arrived, and our Johnny Manziel, and man, that was given as Christmas gifts. And dude, I found one the other day, like in my mom's like really dilapidated old like storage unit. I'm like, that's the passage of time.
Yeah.
And I just don't want that to be for Lane Kiffin if he leaves because like, man, what he's done is awesome. He should be celebrated, and he shouldn't even have to be dealing with this. Honestly, he could be doing a better job of handling it. But at the end of all things, the fact that we can't just enjoy the thing we love because people are assholes, selfish assholes, not Lane or whatever, but like the people who made the timeline what it is, it's just unfortunate. And especially with Ole Miss having the greatest season it's ever had. But you don't want to go to Atlanta. We were talking about this earlier. Why would he want to go to Atlanta, which is crazy? Because like Ole Miss is always just get to Atlanta. That's one box to check. Well, if you're going to do it this year and make it another history thing. But here's the thing, like, what if Ole Miss doesn't? Because it needs losses from Texas A&M and Alabama to get there. If it doesn't, Ole Miss will have gone 7-1 twice in the SEC and not made the SEC championship game.
That it exists. Okay, A&M beats
insane,
Texas beats A&M, right? Bama loses to Auburn. Then Ole Miss would play Georgia again? Is that how that would work? Or would there still be another head-to-head?
That would be the best matchup you could really get in the SEC championship game is a rematch of Ole Miss and Georgia.
That would be so much fun. Although this Georgia team
Texas
right now,
A&M deserves it. I love Texas A&M. Man, their business. Mike Elko coaches ball.
They do.
You know what I mean? All right, 2%.
All right. Well, that wraps up another episode of Game Runs Deep for Ben. I am Sudu.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like I would do this every day with Sudu if he wanted to.
If we could make it happen, that would be fun, man. I once again appreciate all the support, guys. You can follow Ben at Spirit Ben on Twitter. You can follow at OM Spirit on 3 for all of his content.
I'm locked out of my Twitter account at Spirit Ben, so I'm currently tweeting.
So
all
follow
my tweets.
OM Spirit on 3 if you want Ben's content. You can follow me at Sudu TV on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
Someone get me out of this 2-factor authentication hellacious loop that I'm in. 1%.
It'll happen. All right, before Ben's camera dies, thanks again, everybody. Thanks for tuning in live with us. Join us again next week.